Okay, a few days ago, on Tuesday, I was at Carrington to interview the manager, Erik ten Hag, and I had a couple of interesting questions, but this one in particular stood out. It was all about the midfield. Take a listen. Midfield, sometimes you look a bit overloaded. I'll be present at the FA Cup encounter against Liverpool. What are you doing to address this issue?
So, what do you mean with overloaded?
It feels like you're outnumbered at times in the middle of the park, that the midfield can be overrun in terms of numbers. Do you think that's an issue?
So, what I think it's, we can control it by keep better the ball. And our players are capable, like Casemiro, Mano, Bruno Fernandes, they are comfortable on the ball. So we don't come that often in such situations. And as others in the team as well. Taking more control of the ball, and then we will be less vulnerable, maybe in counter-attacks. But if so, then we have to deal with it. But those players I mentioned, they can deal with it.
Thanks to Manchester United for allowing me for having a sit down with Erik ten Hag, and I have to bring up his comments there. And I didn't give the statistics to him, but I want to give it now. So just based off the last game against Everton, you were here, I was here covering it separately. Casemiro, for example, most touches of any player, but 17 of his 70 passes failed to find their target. Only McTominay had a worse pass completion rate than Casemiro, 73% and 76%. Is there an issue with the Manchester United midfield? Was I right to ask that question?
You're right to ask the question. At the end of the day, we're here to ask the questions, and if we see something when it comes to statistics, he might see something different. You know, I think me and Fraser had a conversation about that. At times you look at, you're watching something from the stands as a player or a manager, or you're on the pitch in the thick of things, you see things differently. He might not have seen it that way. He's looking at his midfielders to try and dominate. They haven't been dominating. We all know that Casemiro's legs aren't as young as they once were. So getting around the pitch is going to be tough. I only envy them people that are on this pitch, because I remember how big this pitch can be. And if you've got to try and get around, and that's why we're talking about Højlund stretching the games when you're in possession. When you're out of possession, try and make that pitch as small as possible.
Is there a stylistic issue here with the side? Because at times it's a high press, but simultaneously being a low block. And you don't need to be a scientist to know that leaves a gaping hole in the middle.
Yeah, and at times this season you've seen it where the front 3 or 4 have been up there trying to press, and they've not managed to get the ball, and they've beaten the press, and then they're just onto the back line of defence, which is, you know, really difficult. You've got to stay connected as a team, and if you've got them big gaps, it makes it so hard once you win the ball back, or if the team goes past one line, then it makes it so hard to get everyone back in position.
Who are like leaders in there though? Because when you were playing, you had leaders in there that would say, Fraser, no, come in here, we need to do, because you learn through the game. He could be running around, running like mad, but it's like, why are you doing that? Let's stay in here, let's stay compact. You look at Roy Keane, for argument's sake. He's over there, he's doing the interview. But he would have been telling people, come in here, no, it's not working. They haven't got them leaders that can really change a game.
And someone to drive the standard. So like you're saying, if you're on the pitch next to Roy Keane and you're just jogging about, you know full fact that he's going to say something to you. Yeah, of course. So everyone knows that I've got to do this job. Not only is my manager going to be annoyed, but my teammates expect this of me, so you've got to do it. And like you're saying, you don't really see many of them.
Who is that? Who is that person?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, how about this name? And he's not in the squad today, but I'm going to mention him anyway. It's Johnny Evans. He's the same age as you.
Yeah,
you came up through the system together. How big a miss is Johnny Evans going to be?
Exactly that. You know, Johnny's, since the age of 10, he's been like composed, a talker, a leader. You know, he'll be talking to the lads off the pitch, not just on the pitch. You know, he'll look around at who's going to help him out of a difficult situation. He's been there, done it, and like I said, he's always been calm on the ball, and that just breathes throughout the rest of your back four, the rest of your midfield. You need them types of players around or in and around the team when you're playing against these teams.
Is he a big miss, do you feel, today? You've seen a lot of him at Leicester.
I've seen a lot of him at Leicester, and I can only vouch for what I saw at Leicester, and it was phenomenal. Someone who's a leader on and off the pitch, someone he was kind of Leicester's Virgil van Dijk. Someone who, you know, when you know that he's in the team, you're like, you can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different now because obviously he's a little bit older. He might get exposed when it comes to certain things, but I tell you what, he'll be bellowing out at everyone, trying to pull people in, trying to make sure things are being properly organised. We've seen it time and time again. Yes, he might get exposed with pace and stuff like that, but he'll definitely be given 110%.
Can I ask, when Johnny got that contract, did you message him? You've known him for 25 years.
I messaged him and said, Johnny, I've got my boots in my car. I'm coming over. Have a word for me. I'm making a comeback.
But it's unbelievable the amount of games that he's played as well.
Yeah, we were speaking about this before, weren't we? Johnny wouldn't have imagined, like when he signed in the summer, that it would gonna have such an important and play as many games as he has. But credit to him, he's looked after himself throughout his career and he's able to put the minutes in and put the performances on the pitch.